Welcome back to Sam and Ham. This is Sam.
And this is Ham.
And what are we doing today?
Today we're going to be looking at some more monsters. This time, homebrew.
Homebrew monsters?
I know, we've been doing so much, we're having so much fun with the, actual legitimate monsters. I was like, let's go to the homebrew. And
yes.
see what the people have made.
Gotcha. You are the homebrew connoisseur here in this household.
I do enjoy it. It's very fun just to see what the random people on the internet decide to make.
Yes.
What I make, because I am a random person on the internet.
Yeah. As much as, we love the classic core structure, DLC is always great.
Yeah. Especially this. This is less DLC, more sketchy mods you find on the internet.
Sketchy mods. Should we get started?
Let's do it. We've got 3 monsters today.
Mm-hmm.
I've picked these out because they are all plant monsters.
Gotcha.
And I don't think there are enough of them.
There not enough plant monsters?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So, looking at the screen here, I see a dandelion, which I love the play on words. How are we judging this creature today?
Well, I think we're going to be using our same 3 tactics from the monster showdowns that we've been doing.
Gotcha. So we're going to go based on DM tactics?
Player appeal.
And lore?
That's the plan.
But what if the sketchy mods here don't have lore?
Well, then unfortunately they might get a bad score. But I believe all 3 of these have some pretty good lore, actually. I haven't read 100% of it, but I've given them enough glances. I think we got some contenders here. The only problem we're going to have is these guys are not the same CR. So we can't directly compete with, each other, but we'll give them some scores nonetheless.
Before we get started, who are we crediting this person to?
This was created by u/Wamker on Reddit. And the artist artwork was made by Iguana Mouth.
Awesome. Well, I think you guys did a great job.
Yeah, no, I love the art, and as you'll see, I think the creature's pretty cool too.
Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and do it then. Starting off with this dandelion.
Yes, so the dandelion does have some lore over here on the right. Basically, they are not real lions. They were cultivated by gnomish druids who are devoted to nature but unable to escape their, tinkering natures.
I love it.
They're not real lions. They're herbivores with flat teeth rather than pointed meat-eating teeth. Mm-hmm. And they have natural defenses with healing energies and other such properties.
I have to point out that apparently these lions grow in a similar way of regular flowers. However, once they're fully grown, that's when they get to start to walk around.
Yeah, it's utterly horrifying. The absolute, just trying to imagine that is bizarre.
See, and I thought the dandelions in Alice in Wonderland, that 1990s version
yeah.
was terrifying, and then now we got this.
So this guy is
proud.
He's dandy, even, I'd say. So I have 2 problems with this here dandelion.
Okay.
1, he is unfortunately a 1-to-1 recreation of a lion.
So he's just a reskinned lion.
He is a reskinned lion with 2 different abilities, and that's the only reason I've allowed him to make it into the video, unfortunately. 1, he has this fine and dandy ability. You can use it twice a day, and as a bonus action, regain 2d10 plus 1 hit points.
So he just gets a magical heal.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And, also he has 65 HP compared to the regular lion. The regular lion only has 26.
So he's got practically triple.
Yeah, well over double. And so keep in mind, the lion itself, he's a CR1.
Mm-hmm.
And then they want to call this guy a CR1 too? Despite him having just straight up more health and a few more abilities? That's the other big problem. He is not a CR1 at all. I'd say he's probably at least a CR2, if not 3.
Oh, wow. Yeah?
The problem is, I wouldn't call him a CR3 just because his damage is still pretty low, but he's got way too much health to be a CR1.
Yeah. Do you mind scrolling down for those at home that can see the damages here?
Well, I was just pointing out the health thing. So the other things, he's got the fine and dandy we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go down to the damages, you can see he's got a bite and a claw, just like the regular lion does, a d8 plus 3 or a d6 plus 3.
Mm-hmm.
He has this pounce ability, where if he moves at least 20 feet in a straight line, then makes a claw attack, which is the lower damage of the 2.
Mm-hmm.
The target must make a DC 13 strength saving throw or be knocked prone, and then, if it's prone, he can make a bite attack as a bonus action.
Okay.
So pretty normal standing stuff. He's got his running leap. If he runs, he can jump farther. And he's got pack tactics, so if you throw multiple, or if he just has a minion of some kind, then he gets advantage. Which is handy, again, for the pounce. But then his other cool ability that he gets is called Blow Ball.
Okay.
Yeah, funny name. It comes back on a recharge 6. So basically, after you've used this ability, every turn, at the start of each of his turns, you roll a dice, a d6, and on a 6, he gets this ability back. This is how, like, breath weapons work for, like, dragons and stuff, too.
Gotcha.
So he gives a dignified wiggle of its tail and releases a thick cloud of floating seeds in a 10-foot cube originating from it. When it appears, and the first time a creature enters it on its turn, a creature must make a DC 11, which isn't very high, Constitution saving throw, or begin to sneeze uncontrollably. While sneezing this way, they are blinded and incapacitated, which, remember, incapacitated doesn't let you take actions, so you're blind and can't attack.
Oof.
A creature can repeat the saving throw to end the effect early, and the cloud lasts for 1d4 plus 1 rounds, or until a wind of moderate speed, at least 10 miles an hour, disperses it.
So at least 2 turns.
Yeah, at least 2, up to 5, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that could potentially suck is that this ability doesn't have a limit on how long it can last. So if you just, if you're like a wimpy, scrawny wizard with a negative constitution, you could be here for a minute. Just sneezing a lot.
Yeah. Because you can't even cast a non-attacking spell, can you?
Nope. When you are incapacitated, you cannot take actions or reactions. And a blinded creature automatically fails any ability check that requires sight, and attack rolls against it have advantage, and its attack rolls have disadvantage.
Gotcha. So, breaking it down, DM tactics, how do you feel?
DM tactics? I think he's pretty decent. He's like a normal lion, which is fine. Normal lion's not got a whole lot. It's got the pounce, but that's about it. But he's also got that blow ball, which is cool, and he's got a little bit of healing. And the part I kind of like is that he has to choose between using his pounce or his healing.
Gotcha.
I'm not going to say this guy's got the most abilities in the kit, but he's got enough. I'd give him a 6.
6, okay. Alright, player appeal. I'm gonna go with a 7. Let me tell you, the druid in the core center of my heart absolutely loves this thing.
He's adorable.
A dandy boy, and he's neutral good. So what are the odds that you can, convince this guy to help you out?
Yeah, no, he's not a bad guy. He's stupid. He only got 3 intelligence.
Yeah.
But
well, let me tell you, I'd rather have that blow ball on my end than coming at me.
That's fair.
The person who's allergic to all things nature in me says, keep this thing away from me, but that face.
Yeah.
He is cute.
He's a cute boy. How about lore? What do you think?
Lore, I like his backstory, just made up by gnomish druids.
Yeah, they like to tinker with things. I give him a 8.
It is cool. I want to see the flip side of this, though, with, some monstrosity that these poor druids made just trying to mess around.
True.
Some freak of nature.
That'd be awesome. So do you agree with the 8, or do you think he goes lower?
I'm okay with the 8. And moving on to number 2, who do we have?
The Hoarding Swordbrush.
The Hoarding Swordbrush.
Yes.
And who made this monstrosity?
The art is called Vinelasher Kudzu by Mark Tedden.
Okay.
And the actual creature was made by Gelcubicle on Reddit.
Very interesting. Let's see how this plays out.
So their basic lore is that they were crafted by like a druidic tribe, and it's like this vine plant thing that likes to steal metal from stuff.
So this is the monstrosity I was just talking about.
Yeah, kinda.
Gotcha.
It says basically it winds everything up and devours forged metal, kind of like a rust monster. Yeah, they seem pretty darn neat. It does here give on the first page rules for a bigger version, but let's take a look at the default version first.
Okay.
So this guy, he is a CR3. He only has a few more health than that Dandelion we just looked at, but he does have some more AC. 16 AC, 78 HP. He's got a climb speed and a normal speed.
That makes sense. He is a plant.
He is a plant.
Continue.
Athletics, he's got some stealth, so he can sneak up on people. Condition, he's immune to blind and deaf and exhaustion. He's got blind sight. Cool. As you see, he has a false appearance.
So while he's just sitting there, he just looks like a regular plant.
It says he looks like a cluster of vines with discarded metal.
Hmm.
So a little weird, but I don't know. Hard to tell. And this guy has one heck of a stat block, so strap in. The Swordbrush can have up to 10 vine tendrils at a time. Each tendril can be attacked with an AC of 16 and 10 hit points as immunity to poison and psychic damage. Destroying a vine tendril deals no damage to the Swordbrush, which can grow a replacement tendril on its next turn. A tendril can also be broken if a creature takes an action and succeeds on a DC 13 strength check against it. Tenacious Grappler. The Swordbrush can grapple a target with multiple vine tendrils at once. If a creature is grappled by multiple tendrils, it must escape each tendril individually to free itself. However, when a creature uses its action to attempt to free itself, it can attempt to break free from all of the tendrils as part of the same action. As long as the Swordbrush is grappling at least one creature, its speed becomes 5 feet, so very slow.
Gotcha. It's pretty good balance that it's not taking up everything, but I like that extra feature of you're going to get mummified if you're not careful.
Yeah. So then its attacks, has multi-attack, so it makes 2 attacks with its lashing vines, and then it uses 1 use of its Detritus Crunch ability. So the lashing vines has +5 to hit. It's got a 20-foot range. 1 target does a D4 plus 2 piercing damage. So the damage is pretty low. And if the target is medium or smaller, every player character, it is grappled with an escape of DC 13. And the Swordbrush can't use the same vine tendril on another target. Then it uses 2 of those, potentially grappling 2 people at once. And it uses its Detritus Crunch. Each creature and/or people grappled by the Swordbrush must make a DC 13 strength saving throw for each tendril grappling it. So if you're grappled by a whole bunch at once, you gotta make a lot of saving throws.
Yeah, that is a lot of saves.
Any creature that fails a save is then pulled 10 feet closer, and then any grappled creature within 5 feet of it takes 2d6 bludgeoning damage. So basically, it reaches 20 feet out, grabs you, potentially twice, and then begins to pull you closer.
Gotcha.
And then when you're right up next to it, you start to get launched.
Gotcha. So this thing just does not like things that make swords.
Pretty much, so any player character who has a sword is probably going to get, attacked first, but it does have one more ability. Steel Snatcher. It's a reaction. When it is hit by a melee attack made with a weapon, it can use one of its free tendrils to restrain the weapon. It makes a grapple check against that creature that hit it. If the creature wins, the Swordbrush takes a d4 of slashing damage. If the Swordbrush wins, the weapon is stuck. While the weapon is stuck, the creature holding it can't make attacks with it and is treated as grappled by the Swordbrush unless it releases the weapon. No action required. Or until it frees the weapon with a successful strength check, and if it releases the weapon, it pulls it into the massive weapons, where it is lost until the Swordbrush dies. So basically, it tries to steal your swords, it tries to pull you in, it tries to crunch you.
Gotcha. That is a monstrosity.
Yeah, right?
Put it nicely.
Absolutely horrifying. Now, this is a very complicated monster. So that's definitely a intimidating stat block to try to read.
Yes.
I could see your eyes start to glaze over as I got to about the 4th ability that's a paragraph long.
Just trying to process.
Yeah, it's a lot to process. It took me a minute as well. So, I mean, again, I hadn't fully read all of that until now. So,
breaking it down,
it's going to hit you for pretty small amounts of damage as it grapples you. And then when it uses its crunch ability, you get pulled towards it, and if you're in melee with it, which melee people already will be, pretty much, they're going to take bonus damage as they get into melee, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's intense.
So DM tactics, how do you feel?
I'd give him a 9.
A 9.
I think this is probably one of the most fun creatures I have seen in a while.
Gotcha.
He is incredibly complicated, but he's got quite a few tools, but there's very clear weaknesses to him, such as don't get in melee with him, break that grapple as soon as you can when you're far away, stuff like that. I don't know. I think it could be seriously useful. Plus the fact that he can climb, he can put you on a ceiling.
Yeah.
So then he's on the ceiling, he pulls you up to the ceiling, now you're stuck, and then you gotta take fall damage if you grab and break your way free.
Okay.
The only thing I think this guy is kind of missing is he doesn't have any damage like resistances, no immunities, and no vulnerabilities, which is a little boring.
Right. So you're gonna stick with your rating 9?
I think so. I think he's super cool.
Okay. Player appeal, I'm gonna give him a 6.
Really?
Yeah, green viney monster, not a thing I want to unpack right now. So,
That's fair. One more thing for the player appeal, though. He's potentially a loot machine.
yeah.
If I was the DM and I've got a monster full of metal bits, that screams loot pinata to me.
Yeah, but something with a good magical weapon, I'm pretty sure probably made it out with its weapon. Like, I don't think it got eaten.
Well, I don't know. Hard to tell.
But, nah, I'm not for that. I think
The
that
6 is still above average, so.
you're not wrong. And you're right. I don't like the fact that I can't just fireball this thing to death with that bonus fire damage.
Yeah.
The fact that it has no resistances or vulnerabilities does kind of upset me.
Yeah. It's alright. Lore? I think it's decent. I don't think it's over the top.
Yeah, I would give it a 5 for lore.
Yeah, I'd probably put it there. It's very, like, they did the pretty much bare minimum. I should say bare minimum, but they gave it some lore. It was made by druids who want to steal weapons from, like, deceased tribes. It makes sense. That's more lore than some of the old D&D monsters got, so he gets pass.
Yeah, definitely. All right, what's number 3?
The last one is the Topiary Triceratops.
The Topiary Triceratops.
Yes, this was made by, I'm sure I'm going to butcher this name, I apologize, Shylocv. Shylocv.
Okay.
Shylocv. It's on screen. And as you can tell by the picture, I love him.
Just by looking at that picture, I can tell that you love him.
Yes.
Gotcha.
It's a dinosaur made of leaves.
Does he have resistance to vulnerabilities and stuff?
He does.
Awesome.
All right, so
let's look through this. What do we got?
So first off, just kind of like the Dandelion, this guy is a clone of the normal Triceratops.
Okay.
But that is intentional, and it's got some changes, and I think it's kind of cool.
Okay.
So it has the exact same AC, hit points, and speed as a standard Triceratops, as well as the challenge rating.
Okay.
This guy, though, resists piercing and bludgeoning damage, immune to psychic and thunder, and is vulnerable to fire and slashing.
Which would all make sense for plant-based monsters.
If you were trying to fight a bush, that's what would be true. You can't use psychic abilities on a bush. It's got a false appearance. If it's not moving, it just looks like a plant. Just makes sense. It's got the trampling charge, just like a regular Triceratops. If it moves at least 20 feet and then hits with the gore attack, then the creature has to make a strike saving throw or be knocked prone. And then if it's knocked prone, you can use a bonus action to stomp it.
Cool.
It's got the gore attack here that does 4d8 plus 6 piercing damage, or the stomp attack that does 3d10 plus 6.
Gotcha.
Which, as you can see, is literally the exact same as the standard Triceratops.
Gotcha.
And that's the end of the stat block. He's a very simple boy.
Right. So I'm noticing just a little bit extra flavor down here at the bottom. I'm noticing, just wanting to point it out to those who are watching. This just means we can copy basically any creature we want.
Yeah, it gives you a little template, which I think templates are cool. There was a lot of them in older editions, not as many in 5th edition. But it's just a template here you can apply to any beast. You change its type to plant. It only has a walking speed. Give it the resistances, immunities, and vulnerabilities of the plants, and then they get false appearance, and then boom, you have a plant monster.
That is pretty cool.
So while this guy is a tad simple, a tad bit of a cop-out, he's just a Triceratops. This is an idea I hadn't had, clearly. I've never seen anybody else have this idea. So this guy is theoretically just, like, made a lot more monsters that are available as plants. Because there's not enough plant monsters. Now I can just look at any beast and go, oh, now it's a plant monster. Is that a little simple and boring for a plant monster? Perhaps, but it is a plant. If there's a situation where I need a plant, now I have more options for plants.
Gotcha. So if we decide to face a druid who just needs a bunch of plant monsters,
now he's got plant beasts.
I'm starting to think a subclass here is in order.
Dude, how is there not a plant-based druid?
I don't know.
It makes no sense. There's spores. That's about like poison and mushrooms. Where's Mr. Plant Boy? That's a whole separate rant I won't go into now, but I hate it.
Comment down below if you guys want us to review any homebrew subclasses of Druid here. That way we could get some plant-based Druid boys in.
Please, God. Other than that, it gives a little bit of lore here, as they are prized possessions in, like, nobles' plant gardens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they say it's kind of like a golem with their animating force, a spirit from the elemental plane of earth that is bound to a body via magic.
Gotcha. And
Actually, it does say druids find them distasteful at best and an abomination at worst. So these are less used by druids and more by, assholes.
unfortunate.
But that's fine. Still, the idea is cool. There are a lot more options here than you would have without it. So, even though it technically doesn't really add much stat block-wise, I still think he's cool.
Alright, so DM tactics?
I gotta give him like a 5.
A 5.
He's boring. He's a Triceratops, so there's actually nothing new here. But, and especially because Triceratops aren't exactly the most inspired of stat blocks either. It's literally got the trampling charge and then melee attacks.
Right.
But the only reason I'm giving it a little bit more is for the DM tactic of there are more places you can put it with that false appearance. It gets him up to a 5. I don't want to rate him much lower than that for that, at least.
Okay.
Player appeal?
I'm gonna give him a 7.
Yeah, that's fair.
I like the fact that I could find any creature on this planes of existence, basically, as a plant.
Yeah, I just love him. He's so cute.
He is extremely adorable.
Do you have to, like, trim these guys like you do a normal bush?
I don't know. Now we need a plant groomer.
Oh, God.
Alright. And what about lore?
4.
4. I agree with that. There's not much there, but I like that.
He's like a golem. That's alright.
I like the fact that druids don't like them. After we just ranted about how druids needed plant shapeshifters.
That's what I get for now reading.
I love it, though.
But I think that's all we got.
Alright.
So after doing a little bit of math, we have some final scores for all the plants that made it into this video.
Yep. What was number 3?
Number 3 was the Topiary Triceratops at a 5.3.
While he's very cool, he's just a rebrand of everything else.
Yes. Coming in second was
the Swordbush brush. Was the Hoarding Swordbrush.
He's got really cool tactics, but a little bit lacking in the lore and player appeal categories.
Unfortunate for him.
And at number 1 was
the Dandelion.
He's just too darn cute.
He is. He is a dandy lad.
He's a rebrand, just like the Triceratops, but this guy's got a few more abilities that make him just a little bit more unique. He's much cuter to make the player appeal a little bit higher.
He's a bit more sentient than the Topiaries.
Yes.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. I think that's all we have for today.
Yeah, going forward, we might add in a few more homebrew monsters into the rotation, but we'll have to see.
Definitely. Feel free to drop in some links or just some homebrew you'd like us to look at.
But until then,
this is Sam.
And this is Ham.
Thank you for watching.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.